Mykonos. For centuries, this picturesque former pirate village in the middle of the Cyclades group of islands has been the meeting place for artists, VIPs and the international glitterati. The picture book splendour of the focal point of this half-moon-shaped island lies in a protected bay on its west coast. Cyclades Islands are situated in the middle of the South Aegean, which, like a magic circle, flows around its former centre, the holy island of Delos. Of more than 220 islands, only 25 are populated, with a total of 100,000 inhabitants. However, during the summer months, millions of holidaymakers invade the islands to capture the delights of sun, sea and sand. Everywhere, brilliant white houses with their green, blue, red and yellow windows and doors, and the deep, rich blue of the sea. Cyclades are also known as the Pearls of Greece. It seems as if the gods have scattered a handful of beautiful pearls into the deep blue Aegean Sea. In ancient times, they were also known as the Islands of Light, because Apollo, the god of light and learning, was born here and also worshipped on these islands. Today, small motorised tricycles are the most important mode of transport. Next to the noisy souvenir haunts, the special charm of quieter attractions awaits, as well as some tucked-away sleepy corners. 5 old windmills dominate the picturesque bay of Mykonos. In earlier centuries, the town's millers not only supplied troops of soldiers and businessmen with fresh flour, but also pirates. Today, these well-preserved windmills are the island's most fascinating landmark. Gleaming light and bright blue of the Aegean is almost blinding. Straight out of a picture book, the bay and the lively town of Mykonos come to life, while fishing boats dance on the waves, and at the harbour there are rows of tavernas, one after the other. Special attraction is the district of Little Venice, the style of its buildings serving as a reminder of when the Venetians took possession of the island. To the south and southeast of the island, there are beautiful sandy beaches, which on good roads are easily accessible by public bus, car and motorcycle. Value-for-money fish tavernas and hostels abound, as well as luxury hotels and restaurants, which pamper those who visit and cater for every whim. Greek hospitality is renowned for this. harbour is always a popular venue. It's where people meet for a chat and to be seen, and where housewives can buy fresh vegetables and fish. There's a lot of choice and something for every mood. The harbour's always lively, a daily ritual. Fishermen prepare to go on their nocturnal expeditions. Slowly, the ferry to the island of Delos leaves the protection of the harbour, glides past Mykonos and out into the open sea. Half an hour later, the ferry arrives in this uninhabited island. In ancient times, the rocky and infertile island of Delos was the cultural and at times the commercial centre of the Cyclades Islands. Today, only a few security guards and their families live here, protecting Greece's most extensive excavation region. Deservedly, Delos is known as the Pompeii of the Aegean. Long since deserted temples, public buildings, houses and streets still conjure up the atmosphere of this once flourishing cultural and trading town. The large theatre was a symbol of great culture and wealth. In the history of the Greek world, Delos played an important role as birthplace of Apollo and Artemis and as the centre of the Attic-Delian Sea Union. As a cultural centre and place of pilgrimage and also an important trading centre. The archaic Heraion temple, no more than a few pillars and an offertory remain. The centre of the Hera cult was founded at around 500 BC and was built on top of an earlier building. Excavations uncovered houses of which the inner courtyards were decorated with mosaics. They depicted a variety of images such as dolphins, tigers, tridents and religious scenes. Final view of the past, of a large cosmopolitan harbour town in the Mediterranean, and soon the ferry brings us to the next island. Naxos, the largest of the Cyclades Islands, with bubbling springs and gently flowing streams, colourful fields and fertile valleys. On Naxos, the gods have created a masterpiece of nature. Different to its scant island neighbours, here a wealth of water, fruit and vegetables flourish in abundance. Not surprisingly, these are the main temptations for its visitors. narrow streets lead up the 50-metre-high hill, past several houses, some of which bear the coat of arms of various Franconian aristocratic families. Without any formal planning, a city gradually developed here. Framed by thick whitewashed walls, charming inner courtyards give a feeling of peace and tranquility. Venetian influence is evident by numerous steps and balconies. Due to its central and fertile location, the island's Venetian founders chose it to be the main seat of government in 1207 and made Naxos the capital of the Cyclades duchy, which survived for 360 years. Their leader, Marco Sanudo, subsequently had a new fortress built close to the Acropolis. Next, the duchy fell to the Turks, but in reality it remained Venetian, as the occupying forces were only interested in collecting taxes. Through the centuries of Turkish occupation, there were ongoing struggles for freedom, and finally on the 6th of May 1821, a revolution was proclaimed. The priority of the people who created this settlement was to create the best possible defence in case of pirate or other attack, and these took place all too frequently. Is a citadel which contains houses, the outer walls of which once formed the keep. The external walls are 1.5 metres thick at the top and nearly 2.5 metres thick at the base. Entry can only be gained through wooden gates which date back 700 years. Gentle colours and enchanting aromas of these tiny front gardens add to the living authenticity of this place. The Greek dream becomes reality. Houses were built on steep slanting rocks. To keep out the cold, the windows are on the outside and the shutters on the inside. The balconies provide a good all-round view. Cafes, restaurants, banks and souvenir shops feature all along the harbour. The inhabitants of Naxos never did wish to roam the world as sailors. They've simply gone to sea as fishermen to provide the population with food and nutrition. Rocky bays surround the town on both sides of the harbour. Alatia can only be reached by crossing a dam. Here the island's landmark is prominent. The Portara, the colossal marble temple gate, still shines golden yellow in the late afternoon light, and the ruins gleam in the fading sun. But soon the burning circle of the sun descends calmly into the tides of the Aegean Sea. Dreamy good fortune under the Greek sun. Paros, the White Island. In Paroikia harbour, the sails of a windmill give a calm, welcoming wave. The oldest and largest church on the island dates back to the 6th century. Katapoliani, Church of 100 Gates, is strongly connected with Byzantine history. This jewel of the Greek Orthodox Church was built on the remains of the Heracles Temple. To protect its priests from possible pirate attack, the church was later extended into a monastery. The Archaeological Museum houses a collection of historic discoveries which have been made on the island. Gravestones from the 5th century BC, stone sculptures and heads carved from marble. In classical times, Paros was the richest island in the Aegean. Marble was also mined here, the quality of which was unique to the island. The historic graveyard was only recently discovered during excavation. As a lasting memorial, the urns, graves and sarcophagus remain at the place where they were first discovered. In ancient Greece, each island was an autonomous state. Later, Alexander the Great unified them into a massive kingdom. Then followed the Romans, Venetians, Genoese and Turks. It was only in 1829 that the Cyclades were included in the unification of the Greek islands. Paros is also one of the most fertile of the islands. Wine, oil, potatoes and pulses are all produced here. Today, 9 monks reside in the Moni Longovardas monastery, entry to which is prohibited to women. The monastery contains ancient frescoes and icons. Double-storied arcades of the inner courtyard exude tranquility and peace. The northwest, the journey takes us to a large fishing bay. This is the island's secondary town, dreamy and secluded, with thousands of years of history. Fishermen sit together mending nets and preparing for their next voyage. Nausa probably possesses the most beautiful harbour in the Cyclades. Here, colourful fishing boats lie anchored tightly together, and natural tavernas complete the romantic scene. Paros has developed into being the hub of the ferry service and has thus become the 3rd largest holiday island after Mykonos and Santorini. Santorini, the most southerly of the Cyclades Islands, legendary location of the mythical lost island of Atlantis, and also a breathtaking island paradise of rock, lava, sea and light. Survival here meant a constant battle against the forces of nature. The unique dimensions of Santorini are due to a natural disaster of devastating proportion. Over 3,500 years ago, a volcanic eruption sank most of the island beneath the sea. A bizarre crater rim remained, known as caldera. crescent-shaped and at different points protruding between 150 and 300 metres out of the sea. The resultant steep coastline offers spectacular views. Its rocky crater walls emerge almost vertically, on top of which the white houses and domed churches of the island's main town, Fira, seem to cling to the extinct volcano. Far below, cruise ships arrive daily and anchor in the azure-coloured bay. From high up on the crater's edge, these large cruise ships look like tiny boats. For conventional anchors, the caldera is too deep, and so the luxury cruise ships are forced to use the long mooring ropes attached to several buoys. In the narrow streets there are rows of jewellery and souvenir shops, bars and viewing terraces, all of which are frequented by hordes of tourists in the summer months. How easy it is to forget that one's walking on the rim of a volcanic crater. From the harbour, a steep path of 569 steps leads up to the town. Rushing by, guides offer a mule ride up to the town. To be carried on the back of a mule by a volcano and over hundreds of steps is an extraordinary experience, almost an adventure, and certainly a thrill, as the route is somewhat precipitous. The constant swaying to and fro is not exactly reassuring, but finally, in repayment of our courageous efforts, a variety of terrace cafes offer refreshment and a superb view. For some years there's also been a modern gondola lift which goes to the rim of the crater in only a few minutes, right into the centre of Fira. In the small harbour of Caldera's Azure Bay, during the morning and late afternoon, peace reigns supreme at the foot of the volcano. Free from hubbub and stress, on this colourful sailing boat a fisherman examines a net which will be used during his nighttime fishing trip. Everywhere, mules wait patiently for their next unsuspecting passengers. For the mules, their daily journey up and down is certainly not a dance on the volcano. But the volcano is not totally extinct. In spite of this, Santorini is a lively island dedicated to the tourist industry. A comfortable, ultra-modern cable car speedily and continuously transports its passengers from and to the harbour. What could be better than to sit here dreamily enjoying the view? Was it not the Greek god Poseidon who, with his trident, threw a handful of rocks onto the seabed which took root there and created the Cyclades?